For those who don't know me, I'm Brandon Ramsey. I am the co-creator with Tisha. And this went back a long way where we really connected at a networking event. And we said, we want to bring genuine people together, not to exchange business cards, not to try to sell to each other, but to really, really get to the essence of who we are as people, and then to go from there and build that relationship. So we wanted to create something drastically different, give you some alcohol, give you some cake, and really loosen up, and then learn about some very unique things about you as a person. And so in this creation of success over struggle, we realized that in many scenarios, we go to these events, we hear these amazing stories of everyone so successful, they're making all these dollars, but we don't really get to see how did they get there. And so when we started hosting these events, I've just been impacted that this is our 6th success over struggle, and the amount of people that I've got to meet, the learning that I've got to meet it's just phenomenal. So 6 months, 6-month anniversary. I mean, that's a big deal, but please raise your hand if you've been to one of these outside of this one. Okay, how about 2? 3? 4? 5? 6? Oh, there we go. Thank you. From day one. Give them some money. But so we truly appreciate it. And really, our attendees are the ones who bring value. And as you're talking to people and you're really getting to know, I mean, can you feel the difference between a networking event and then a connections event? Something that's different. Is there a different feel for this? And that's what we were trying to get. So the reason for this, the reason why I am, I guess, emceeing, I'm hosting this event, is it is a very special month. Not only is it our 6-month anniversary, but is also our co-creator's birthday. So please wish her a happy birthday. Yeah.
29.
She 29 years old, or 93.
I think Terry, where's Terry? Terry sent me a LinkedIn message. He's like, it's your 10-year anniversary of your 29th birthday.
There you go.
I was like, that is awesome.
I like it.
Clever.
Yeah, and so when we started looking at this and really seeing, spotlighting a lot of the panelists, really showcasing kind of Tisha's journey and what led her to really want to create an event like this, but also her going through her own personal journey to really give back. And I don't know if you'd like to share at least what led to this point and led to you being on our panel today.
Okay, well, thank you, Brandon. So I asked Brandon if he would get in this very uncomfortable position, stretch him out of his comfort zone, and lead the panel, because I'm like, September is always one of those months. It's my birthday month, but last year I did something that was completely out of the ordinary. I'm starting to call them my big, bold moves. And last year I decided on my birthday to get on a Facebook Live and really kind of dispel the myths and say that I think so many people see us here on stages doing all these things, but they don't really understand that behind closed doors there's a lot of crap that happens too. And that's where I was saying that, like, I publicly went on this Facebook Live and I'm like, my husband asked me to leave, my kids are jerks some days. I've had my own share of struggles, and I just wanted to share with people that, because I feel like so many of us are put on this pedestal and we're like, I can't stay up there. Like, you don't know half of my story, and I'd really like to just be honest with you. And so I did that. I mean, I posted the link. It's in my book, in fact, and so many people were like, throwing likes, and they're like, you go, girl. And I was like, oh, this is so nice to finally be open for a change and tell people that it's not all roses and rainbows. Like, there's a lot of struggle that comes with this. There's a lot of learning. I'm still learning. There's a lot of relationships that I don't have anymore. There's just so many difficulties that we've gone through. So it's nice to finally, like, kind of tear off the mask that I think a lot of us hide behind. So I told him, I was like, can I get on the panel and just do it again? Like, my next
It's her birthday month, so I couldn't say no.
I know. I'm like, you're fired. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, we're doing this. So we're kind of stretching ourselves out of our own comfort zones a little bit, and you guys get to be here to witness it. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight.
And just to piggyback off that is we talk about being vulnerable and really feeling comfortable with our insecurity and our fears. And we really wanted to create a safe zone where we do feel comfortable. To the point where you will meet some people that will be in your life forever. They'll help your business, but to have that ability to reach out to some of these colleagues that you met here. So I'm excited. I'm also very excited to introduce our panelists, because they all have agreed to really kind of strip back the layers, be open and honest, and bring some unique values and perspective to what this group is all about. And so I'm going to introduce the panelists. Saloua is going to be the first one. I was reading through your bio, very, very impressed. We talk about taking that leap into entrepreneurship. That's crazy. But then you start thinking about your personal barriers, things you have to overcome within your personal area. And reading her bio, she was born and raised in Morocco, immigrated to Belgium, and then actually moved to New York City, didn't know anybody, and didn't even know English. So we want to talk about overcoming a barrier, a personal barrier, moving to a country you didn't know, and really creating that life. And through her bio, she obviously battled a lot of the personal issues and learning English and going through this, but her whole bio and what she brings to the table is her desire and passion to empower women. And being a successful business owner of 2 businesses, really bringing that value and that perspective from her personal experience and perseverance through that to then really being dedicated. So I'm excited to hear your story. And then Vincent, you ventured into the entrepreneurial world, you did it, and then all of a sudden you went in and you really kind of went into ASU, focused on social media. And right now, the importance of social media, there's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of people doing it right. There's a lot of people doing it wrong. How many people in here have heard of #YesPhoenix? That hashtag. So right now we have somebody who's actually leading that effort. So he brings some extreme value when we think about how to leverage. Oh yeah. Yes. Add #YesPhoenix to everything you do. But Vincent was invited on the panel because he can actually speak about being a business owner, the power of social media, how to use it, when to use it. So his background from having kids, we just talked about his kids, 5 years old, birthday next week, so that's exciting. So we start thinking again about his personal endeavors and where are we going to balance children, but then also his specialty and what that looks like from all levels of your business. And then we get to Tisha. And I've had the honor to talk to Tisha, and we've bounced ideas back and forth. We've talked, we've hosted events, but her career journey started in 2004. Some ups, downs, some cuts, some personal life issues, and from 300 events to Social Connect, to what we're doing now. And what I like about Tisha is she's battling, she keeps trying, and she's really putting herself out there. And I'm going to give you a plug, because I did get the book. I didn't read it. But if you want to talk about really stripping back the layers and why you should work with Tisha and her passion to help people in the idea stage, this is a free-for-all of Tisha. So we talk about really getting to know somebody. She lets loose. So it is on audiobooks. There are books back there. But I encourage, as you look in her journey, her struggles, personal struggles, business struggles, the crying sessions, everything, it's in the book. So when we look at Tisha, and now why she's on the panel, is because she's been through almost every stage, and she's completely dedicated now to support people in those stages. How many people in here right now know somebody who has an idea about a business? Have you ever talked to anybody that's like, oh, I'd love to do this. I would love to do that. I mean, there's things I would love to do. That's where Tisha's coming into play, because she wants to take your idea and she wants it to go to fruition. So her niche is there. And I'm extremely excited to see where that can go. So I'm excited about that. The other thing is we start looking at all of our business. You know, we probably all have business cards in here. I've met a lot of you and kind of know what you do. But at the end of the day, who believes you do business with people first? Do you guys believe that? So if you like somebody, you're more likely to do business. You're more likely to give referrals. So I'm going to now ask the panelists to give me their 30-second commercial about their personal issue or personal, if you're a product or a service, how do you sell yourself? Because I want them to be open and really share who they are. So I'll start with Saloua.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So a 30-second personal spiel. Okay, so you said it very well. I was born in Morocco, raised in Belgium, and at the age of 20, I moved to New York City by myself. At that time, I didn't know how difficult it would be. I really was fearless. I don't know if you guys remember when you were in your early 20s, how things changed, and then 15 years later, things are really different. So And then I ended up in Phoenix from a relationship, actually, that didn't work out. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know how I ended up here. It would never be my first choice. Not that I don't like Phoenix, but I would never think that I would end up here. But eventually, I met great women like Tisha, and I started building a network, and eventually my business grew here. So I'm loving it, and I'm really grateful for all the people I met here in Phoenix. So thank you.
Same thing.
Same question. I am a big believer in rising tide lifts all boats. I think we have a really good opportunity here in the greater Phoenix area, the Valley of the Sun, to do that in a lot of different ways as businesses, as people. Everybody, a lot of people come here from other places. Obviously, are a lot of you, who's here from somewhere else? Who lives here from somewhere else?
Go Bucks.
Okay. But I was just having a conversation about like how many people. It seems like now there are more native Arizonans because I have two daughters that are native Arizonans, and we're all raising children that may have been born here, likely have been born here. So the generation is coming, whether it's Gen Z or Alpha generation, whatever we want to call them. That opportunity will exist, I think, for that generation, and just lifting each other up and helping each other. That opportunity really exists here, I think, more than any other metro region or city in the country. I think it's a really valuable place to be right now and going forward. So.
Okay, so this was 30 seconds.
30 seconds. About
Personal pitch.
Personal pitch.
So
Summarize your book.
Summarize 30 seconds. A lot of struggle. So for me, I always like to say, I've given a couple speeches, and I always like to say that I'm a fortune cookie hoarder. Some of you, I love fortune cookies, and I don't like the cookie. I really like the fortune, and I always feel like there's always a really key message that I'm supposed to see right then and there. How many of you can agree with me on that? They're like, I was supposed to see this. The other day, my daughter and I were eating Chinese food, and her said, "A romantic evening will await you." And I just freaked out because I'm like, "You're 6." I think that was meant for my eyes, but okay, I'll take it. But there was a one point, and this is, I really feel, and I've written about this in the book, where I felt like this was the defining moment in my life. I was actually getting ready to speak at ASU, and there was a fortune cookie on the second story of the garage at WP Carey. And I was like, who drops a fortune cookie in plastic? Like, where the hell did this come from? And I opened it up, and I was like, I'm curious. I was getting ready to mentor that day and speak at Startup Summit. And it said, your investment in time will lead to your success later. And that is really key for me because I'm always about, how do I help you? How do I get you to the next level? How do I keep pushing you along and walking alongside you? And I feel like that's been the mission overall in creating this event and being a connector and helping people just see their vision through. And so that is me. I am that person that wants to empower you to make things happen, to do better, because ultimately the success that I have with other people becomes the success that I also get to enjoy. So that would be my 30 seconds.
And so I'd encourage everyone, too, to think about your personal pitch. As you look at your business and the why behind your business, really think about your personal pitch. And so afterwards, when you are networking, feel free to share that pitch to other people. I think it'd be really impactful for you to do that. But we'll begin with the questioning. We'll start with Vincent. So you've said that you failed many attempts in life, right?
I'm a failure.
So Vincent
Huge.
is a huge failure.
I did say that.
Yes. So as a failure, no, share one of those failed attempts you had and the invaluable lesson you've learned from it.
The one I would point out because it's funny. It's sad. Not sad. It's not sad. But it's funny to me.
It's funny sad.
It's not really sad because it turned out fine. I worked for a company publication known as the Arizona Republic for a number of years when I first moved here in the advertising sales department for real estate. And so this was, anyone that knows, I was there from 2005 to 2010 in the real estate advertising department for the newspaper.
And now you're in social media.
Yes. Well, it led me here. So when I started there, it was like people were doing great, fantastic 5-figure commission checks for just picking up the phone and condo conversions and right. A couple years later, it wasn't as good. The bottom fell out, and the newspaper, the company, let go of. They were doing furloughs and letting people go and everything, and I was not seeing it coming, of course, because you never do, and I was laid off, and I wasn't freaking out in my head because for whatever reason, I just felt like, okay, well, this is an opportunity, A month later, I was back in my same desk at the newspaper in just about the same role, making a couple thousand more a year with more responsibility after getting a month off. And I didn't understand it, but I felt like I had failed in some way because why would they have let me go? Like if my job was so essential, there was other people that had been there for years, So that one to me was where I failed the biggest, but then it came back and it just kind of blossomed from there. I ended up leaving on my own. A couple of years later, I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I left on my own and just developed career-wise as a result. Really, the social media thing happened as a result of having a retail sales territory, and I mean, there's a story behind that too. But that's my failure, my biggest failure. There's others.
And so, does anybody in the room have kind of a similar story? Not to share it, but we think about our current jobs and where we're at, and feeling like a failure in your current job, and really trying to do that. Has anyone in here kind of felt that somewhere along the line in their career? Relate to that? Perfect. Thanks, Vincent. Saloua, you're up. So you overcome a lot of obstacles, starting from the ground zero, working your way up to the top. Was there a point in your life where you really needed to heed your own advice to give other women, to empower other women?
Yes, absolutely. So I think the biggest advice that I still give today is that everything is an inside job. So what I mean by that is that obviously coming here with nothing, and I didn't even know papers, I didn't know anyone, I had no right to or nothing, couldn't go to school, couldn't work. But if I had to listen to people who didn't know my story, I probably would have gone back home and just given up. But because I really learned how to listen to myself and to take one task, one thing at a time, one step at a time, it really helped me to the point that when you're really at the bottom of things, then some miracles happen. I can give you a story. Would you like to hear a quick story? Okay. So I was here for now a couple of years in New York, and it's a real struggle there's a whole group of people just like you, the immigrants. They say New York is like a big airport. People come and go. Some people stay, some people leave. But anyway, I needed to stay. I needed to go to college in order to get a visa to be able to stay in the country. And I'm from a third world country where no one could help me get the money to go to college. So I found other people like me, and this one girl in particular, she was also traveling from Belgium, and she got a scholarship from NYU. And I had no money to go to school, but I needed to go to school in order to get a visa. So here's what we did, and I was just so crazy. She said, I'll transfer the money to your bank account, and then you take that, you go file the application, and then you'll transfer it back. And we like, no way this is gonna work. And it did. So it did. I went to community college in New York, and they gave me a 5-year visa. And I was like, now I gotta find a job because I gotta pay for school. But I ended up getting a visa. In New York, nanny. I was a nanny. And then I ended up bartending. I didn't know how they gave me the job as a bartender because I didn't speak any English. I messed up all the drinks. I didn't know what. I remember this guy asking me, give me a stoli on the rocks with a twist. And I'm like, what is a stoli? What is a stoli? What is a rock? And what is a twist? So that was a really challenging experience. But eventually, what I'm trying to say with that is that when I got in the bottom and I still believed in myself, and you have to believe in yourself, but you also have to be practical. You have to do the work. I ended up finding a solution that led me to stay another 5 years. So here it is.
All right. So as you can see, when we pick these panelists, their stories and how you can relate. I feel like every time I hear a panelist speak, there's always a part of it that I can relate to really bring it into my life. So thank you for sharing your story. Now to our birthday special panelist, Tisha. As many of you know, Tisha has pivoted a lot in her life. She loves working with aspiring entrepreneurs, especially in those idea stages that we presented earlier. What was it like when you made the switch to work with that audience? I know you were initially focused on the small business area, but you really were drawn into the passion of working in that idea stage. So can you just tell me about how did that switch happen and how was it accepted?
Well, I can tell you it wasn't accepted. I can tell you that when I finally started to tell people what I wanted to do, everyone thought I was freaking nuts. So how many things did I get? Oh, don't work with that audience. They don't have any money to pay you. They don't know what they want. They can't figure it out. It's like, okay. But something in me says that, these are people, like if you remember, and this is what I was saying, I'm like, can you remember when you started a business and how crazy excited you were, how freaked out you were, how you just wanted someone to help you because you didn't have it all figured out? Like, I want to be that person that walks alongside that person and says, we've got this. Like, we can figure this out together. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to freak out because nobody understands you. Like, your family doesn't get you. Your friends don't get you. Like, this is how we make this happen. And so it's definitely been a challenge because my first couple businesses, marketing, which I don't really like to do anymore, event planning, which I don't want to do anymore. I like planning this because I have people like Brandon to help me, but I have planned, like Erin, she knows, I've planned so many damn events. I've facilitated so many things. And people have asked me, like, why did you give all that up? I'm like, because my head and my heart weren't really talking to each other anymore, and it was time to let it go. It was time to move on and start something new and challenge myself. I know a lot of you are on LinkedIn, and I love LinkedIn. I use it quite often, but I'm starting to see this movement where, I don't know if you guys have seen it, like people who are they've built their businesses up, but then they're being very vulnerable on LinkedIn too, saying, I've hit this, and now I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I've hit a level of success, and I don't know if I'm happy anymore. How many of you guys have kind of seen that happening? Any of you? I've been following some people, and it's like they're needing a new challenge. And I think that I kind of fall into that category where I'm like, I've been there, I've done that, time to move on. It's definitely a chapter that I've closed, and now it's time to start something else. And so working with startups is definitely a challenge. I feel like I'm just standing my ground saying, these are the people that I want to serve, whether you like it or not. This is who I want to work with. Like, call me stupid, call me crazy, but that I feel is the purpose that I have. And that's sticking to it. That's the story.
And we started thinking about, that's her passion. She's following her passion. As many of you are entrepreneurs and business owners, really staying true to what's passionate and bringing value to your life. So I know that I've enjoyed this journey. Even though I'm not a business owner, I've learned a lot on how it applies. So I commend everybody here who's a business owner. Is there any questions for any of the panelists right now? Anyone have any questions?
What is your business? Yes.
So I have two businesses. The second one, I didn't plan it to be a business. So when I moved to Arizona, I'm a certified business coach. It's just like Tisha, I help small business owner to really build the business from the ground up. So when I came here, I was really struggling to make myself known in Phoenix. So because of that reason, I started my own event. It's called Self-Made Successful Women. And I interview 4 women entrepreneurs, and Tisha has been on my panel, about this story, but also the back end of how do you really make it as an entrepreneur. And that became a business on its own. So Self-Made Successful Women, the women empowerment events, and we have masterminds and all that stuff. And then digital marketing, what I help small business grow their business online. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I share something too, Brandon?
Oh, I got a good
this
question
is on the
after that.
question sheet. You didn't ask.
It is?
I'm kidding.
I do have a good question, though.
I wrote those questions. Sorry.
See, feeling uncomfortable right now.
Okay, so I want to say something, and this is kind of my big, bold move, and I wanted to, this is me tearing up. So I get this question a lot, and I think this is what I was asking. So I have a lot of entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs ask me this one question all the time, and they say, am I giving up? Am I giving up if I go and do this? If I have to do this and I have to make those sacrifices, did I give up? And I'm always very upfront, and I'm like, you didn't give up at all. I think the moment you give up is when you just shut everything down. Your website comes down, you stop working on it, you take your Instagram down, you do all that stuff. But I always say that if you are still building your business, it's that whole, I have to eat an elephant one bite at a time. I can't do everything. There's sometimes life is going to throw you those curveballs, and you have to make those sacrifices, and you have to change the situation. So I didn't say that. I haven't said this to too many people. Hi, Jody. And Kari. Hi. I haven't said this to too many people because I think it's a little bit personal, but my husband and I, we've gone through this. He works for the city of Mesa. The boy has been there since he was 17. He's worked his way up. He doesn't understand this whole world of being an entrepreneur. It is tough to be with someone who doesn't understand why you do the shit you do, why you're constantly up, why you're constantly building, why you're constantly going to things like this. And it's very challenging. And especially when you're like, crap, the money's not coming in, but I'm doing all these things, and I know it's going to pay off because I know the breakthrough's coming, like just hang with me. And I mean, I think that you've seen, I've been a business owner since 2004, but I've pivoted so many times where I've had this success and I've been like, okay, starting from scratch. Well, I'm starting this, now I'm starting from scratch. And it was kind of this universe maybe telling me that I was like, you know what? I told my husband, I'm like, I am not opposed to getting something part-time. And so over the summer, miraculously, one thing that I applied for, I ended up getting. And it's working for the city of Mesa. So of course my husband's like, you're gonna be here for life. I'm like, 1 year, I give it 1 year. In fact, my friend Chris is like, I give you 3 months. And I've hit that 3-month mark. I know, and Brandon knows. I have a boss who told me she was a perfectionist the other day. And I was like, I let that sit for a day. And I was like, you don't tell people that. I was like, I can't live up to that standard. Like, it is so hard to be a business owner for so long and then have to go back to that, to where you're like, I'm doing this, but you have to remember what your vision was. Why are you doing it? And maybe sometimes you just have that little bump in the road where you're like, I have to do this in order to get to this. Am I giving up? No. Have I put it on hold? No, I'm still moving in that direction. But sometimes you got to make those sacrifices. I was talking to a guy here a couple of weeks ago. We met for coffee, and he knows who he is. But he was telling me about some of the struggles he's going through, and he's like, I'm working 3 jobs to build this business. I'm like, dude, I feel you. Like, can I just be honest and tell you that I also had to do something on the side to figure this shit out, to move it forward, to get it going, but that I haven't ever given up on what I'm doing. It's still going, but I'm just having to take bite-sized steps to get there. But damn it, I want out of that job.
You'll get there, I promise.
I know, I'm like, I'm so out of there.
That or they'll just fire you and you'll have to find
And you know what they're having me do? Social media. I should just tell Vincent. I'm like, Vincent, can you just do this for me and I'll say it was me?
But thank you. And
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, we start really trying to stripping back the layers. And there's some amazing people here. And I really encourage you guys to connect, because these will be your resources. These will be the shoulders that you lean on. These will be the people who will be giving you advice. So before I ask this question, last question to the panelists, right now, who has the LinkedIn app on their phone? So if you do, can you please take your phone out and get into the LinkedIn app? I want to make sure that you guys are all connected. You see kind of what each other are doing. And there's a fancy like little feature. It's called Find Nearby. Is that what it says on there? Find Near Me? So what it does is it will scan the room and it will populate everybody who's in this room on LinkedIn, and you can go ahead and connect. So right now you will be able to see everybody who's on LinkedIn and make sure that you connect with them. So while you guys are doing that, you guys see it? If you go to your network, the little people on the bottom, and then it's at the top, and I believe it's in the middle tile. So go ahead and turn that on, enable that, and it will actually ping every phone in here, and you guys can build your network. Yeah, so are you in the LinkedIn app? So when you go to the LinkedIn app, go to your network. It's I think the little figurines of people. It's on the bottom left. Yep, and then at the very top in the middle. Yep. So turn that on. Is everyone connecting? Okay, so you're there. So while you guys are doing that, be sure to connect. I have one last question, and it's going to be a fun question, and I'm going to encourage you guys to think about this yourself. And I'm going to ask the panelists. I'm going to throw this out here. Okay, you guys ready? Okay. So if your life was a movie, think about this. If your life was a movie, kids running around, travels, what is the name of the movie, and what character are you playing in that movie? Are you guys thinking about that? If your life was a movie, what's the title of this movie, and what character would you be playing in this movie?
You got it? Okay. So I think for me would be, I don't know if you say Babel or Babel. Do you remember that movie with Kate Blanchett and Brad Pitt? It's called Babel, I think. Anybody seen this movie? No one. Yes? Remember? It was like 4 different stories in different countries, and you got to watch this movie. It's really good. So anyways, Babel or Babel. And then one part of the story happens in Morocco, and I really love this movie. And I would probably be Kate Blanchett if I could.
40-year-old virgin.
Okay.
No, it would be risky business. The title of it, sure. And what was the second part of the question?
What character would you play in that movie?
In the movie, I guess I would be the Tom Cruise character, running around in my underwear, in the living room.
Just that scene. Okay. Tisha?
That's it.
Okay, so how many of you have seen The Intern? Any of you seen that? Yep. Robert De Niro, Anne Hathaway. I'm Robert De Niro. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually Anne Hathaway. Okay. So if you've seen the movie, she's an entrepreneur. And I remember the opening scene, she's actually on the phone, like she's taking customer service orders because she's built this huge business, but I think she still likes being in the trenches, like helping people, supporting people. And in the movie, the people are like, they're actually kind of trying. How many of you remember the movie? Terry remembers the movie? Jody? Jody's like, ah! Could you recite the movie? I love that, but there's so much emotion, and I think that she's trying to balance everything. She's trying to be this perfect mother, to be this amazing businesswoman, and people are telling her she sucks at some things. I think her husband ends up cheating on her, right? And she's like, what the hell is going on with my life? And I feel like I've kind of lived through a lot of that too, where I'm like, I'm just trying to find the right thing here. And I like that she finally just kind of gives that up and says, I'm asking for help. Like, I need people to help me. And like, that's where Robert De Niro sweeps in and, is kind of giving her those words of wisdom. So I kind of equate that movie a lot to this panel, where when I'm sitting on Brandon's side, where I'm actually asking the panel, I'm taking in all that the panelists are saying, and it's just like words of wisdom, life advice, and I'm like, I should use that. So yeah, The Intern, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a really, really good movie. What's that?
They're going to think of you in the story about the intern.
Yes.
That's you.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway.
But as we close, I definitely want to say that I appreciate everyone coming. I hope you found this valuable. We encourage you to come to some other ones. We have some great panelists. Tisha, if you want to share what we have next and some of the other opportunities here.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron.
Vincent.
I work for ASU in the research side of things for the university. So I work for KED, which is Knowledge Enterprise Development, which no one really knows. KED, like anytime I say it, no one really knows what KED is. They've never heard of it. It's knowledge enterprise development. Within ASU, we're essentially the agency, the internal agency for everything having to do with research at ASU. So the other day, we just opened a brand new biodesign building down on the Tempe campus, multi-million-dollar building, crazy particle accelerator, the only one of its kind really in the world because it's so small, I guess. And it was open to the public, big grand opening, and so that was like a big deal. We had to do event coverage for that, marketing, social media, content marketing, all that. That's one part, and then we handle it for everything. So the space programs, the scientific research, E&I, entrepreneurship and innovation, that falls under the research side too. Work pretty closely with that as well. So it's mostly social media marketing, content marketing. We are just launching a podcast as well for the ASU KED Talks, not TED Talks, but the KED Talks. We're starting with the KED Talks where 2 years ago, it was the researchers standing up in front of the audience, kind of telling what they're researching, what this thing that they're working on. Crazy projects. So we're taking those and turning them into podcasts, just the audio version of it. But then we'll come back with next year some more different content. So it's in development. So kind of wear a lot of hats.
And follow #YesPhoenix.
Yeah, #YesPHX for sure. I don't own it or anything like that. I kind of latched onto it myself. And there's a lot of good people and a lot of folks that are in this room even that are pretty well aware and help with the efforts of the startup and entrepreneurial community here in the Valley. I highly recommend there's events that happen all the time. There's a Facebook group. Feel free to join. I admin that. I'll let you in. The Slack group, Twitter, like all that stuff.
Free pass for everyone who attended Yes Phoenix group.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Do you want to finish this off?
I'll finish this off. Any other questions? Okay. So next month we are hosting this in October and November. We're dark in December, but the dates are changing slightly. So October 24th will be the next date, and we have Lynn Smith. She is she runs a company called Ticket Force out at downtown Gilbert, and if you know you guys know her. And we also have Dominic. I don't think Dominic is here. Dominic?
I do not see him.
Okay, Dominic Papa. He's playing for Team USA soccer. Crazy.
It's the professional soccer team here in Phoenix. He is one of their team members now.
So he runs a company called IDP. So he's really bridging the gap between private sector, public sector, creating smart cities. Very, very cool. And then we've got Mercy on a Mission, the executive director, Paula. And how many of you guys are entrepreneur? I know this is a question for you. So I know you said before, being an entrepreneur, I don't get health care.
Yeah, I told her I had an idea for a business, but I was scared to go and not have health care and all those other. So then she inundated me with Facebook messages, telling me all these resources. So I'm in that idea phase.
Yeah. So Mercy on a Mission, that's what they do. They do free healthcare clinics. So they see a lot of entrepreneurs going through there. So she's going to come on board and talk about some things as well. And then November, we've got Jim Thompson, who is the city manager for the city of Scottsdale, along with confirming with Ray Shea, who's the Phoenix Business Journal publisher. So a couple other people. So a couple cool panelists coming up. I'm doing an event, real quick shout out with Jonathan and with Kyle. Kyle Timmons right here runs Office Evolution. And then of course, Jonathan. We see so many people that are like, I want to do a video for my business, but I don't know how to do a video and I don't know what the hell to say. And as I'm seeing scripts come in, I'm like, this is why you need us. Because the scripts that we're getting are very, very lengthy and maybe there's just way too many words and it's great to simplify those things. So this is a great opportunity to get a video done for your business, a personal branded video. And I think Jonathan wanted to plug a couple things as the videographer. This is my sponsor, Jonathan, by the way.
Hey guys.
It's been awesome meeting some of you guys in the room. Just to go along with what Tisha said, we live in an 8-second world where first impressions mean a big deal and they happen really quick. So when someone's on your website, what do they see and what do they feel? And I'm honored to be here, guys. I really have fallen in love with the vision of what this panel has, of we help each other. And if we're good at something, we do that for the other person. So I just wanted to say that in video, it can be daunting sometimes to think about what can I do for a video and how can it be simple. I'm here to make it simple. So I'll start with you guys from start to finish with Tisha. We'll take care of you. At the very end, so much so that I want to offer you guys what's called a revision edit, which means if there's anything you don't like about the final product of the video, you tell me and we'll switch it to be exactly what you want. So if I could answer the movie question, I would be Woody from Toy Story. Because you got a friend in me.
That was very clever. But he also had a lot of time to think about that, so he's on it.
This isn't on this. I had a lot of time to think about it too, so I have to say I really like some of the name tags that have been going around, and it's. I think I was sharing that some of you are putting like my family. Vincent's like my wife, my daughters, and then there's some that are like sex tape.
So we all are different.
I know, we all have a difference. But I know, who was I talking to? Was it you, Amanda? We were talking about people were like, our kids, and we're like, we're such asses. I'm like, I didn't write my kids. Anyway.
So to close this out, I think you have a question.
I do.
All right.
I was wondering if everyone would like to join me in singing happy birthday to Tisha.
We have a cake. We
do have a cake. So do we have a lighter to light the candles and bring them over?
We do. We should get
Where's
one.
our smokers at?
Who here's a smoker? No,
Fire. Anyone know what I was saying that from? Beavis and Butthead?
I
Fire.
think the bar may have
I'm old. What can
a
I
match.
say? Some people don't know who Beavis and Butthead are.
So Stephanie, Lloyd was here earlier with $1 Million Teacher Project, so we'll draw for that. Thank you to everybody who donated to that 50-50 raffle. You're getting cashed out twice. So we had some people who paid with credit card and people who paid with cash, so we'll do that in a second. Stephanie was on the first panel, and if you go to successoverstruggle.com, we record all of these, and I put those up there, and you'll hear her story. Like, it makes me laugh, because we had all of these guys pouring out their heart and soul, and they're like, what do you do to get through the day? She's like, booze. Like, it was just like,
I had to bring a little levity to it. Was very intense and very emotional. It was beautiful. Like, there were tears, and I couldn't follow that. So I went with
I kind of feel like you never know what you're going to get when you're up here. Like, it's always a surprise.
All right.
Hey.
Okay, so I need help singing. I do love karaoke, but I'm about a 6 out of 20 on my singing skills.
Yeah, and we like to get a group photo too as well.
All right, ready? Okay, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tisha. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha. Woo! Make a wish. We should turn it around. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we got it. Yeah, to Jonathan. There you go. It's all about the photo op. Woo!
Perfect. All right. So that is the end. I encourage you guys to stay after, talk to people, connect, read some of the funny name tags, but really use this time to reconnect with individuals, share your 30-second personal pitch. But just know, everyone who attended here today, we're building a strong network to support each other. So thank you guys for coming.